Good evening and welcome to News Review. This past week, customs officers assisted Spanish authorities in an operation that ended in the capture of over 300 kilos of cocaine. The drugs were seized on board the Gibraltar-registered yacht HCH-10 in international waters in the Mediterranean Sea. 5 individuals were arrested, none of them Gibraltarian. The drugs have a street value of over £15 million and it's believed they were destined for Europe. In a statement, the Gibraltar government said customs officers had monitored the vessel and its different crew members since it last visited the Rock in July 2017. It said inquiries will continue to establish there are no local ties to an organised crime group. 2 local men were remanded in custody charged with possession with intent to supply approximately 195 grams of cocaine and over 50 ecstasy tablets. The 2 men appeared before the Magistrate Court on Monday, with the case to be heard next at the Supreme Court on the 21st of September. The arrests came after search warrants were executed at various locations, including 2 homes. During the searches, 3 motorcycles, a large amount of cocaine suspected to be of a high purity content, and a substantial amount of ecstasy tablets were seized. 25-year-old Aaron Alger and 50-year-old Ernest Alger were jointly charged with 2 counts of possession and possession with intent to supply approximately 195 grams of cocaine and over 50 ecstasy tablets, as well as conspiracy to supply a controlled drug to another. They also individually face a number of other charges. A 53-year-old local woman was also arrested, but not charged. She was granted police bail. The man who was jailed for trying to kill the then Justice Minister Daniel Feetham in a knife attack in 2010 was recently refused parole, but he's now challenging that decision, as reported in the Chronicle this week. David Bonici pleaded guilty to the charge of attempted murder and was sentenced to a minimum of 17 years in prison. However, his legal team argues that Bonici's risk to the public is minimal and that it can be safely managed at the Ocean Views mental health facility should he be granted parole. A date has yet to be set for the full hearing of the judicial review. This week, the government welcomed the European Commission's response to a parliamentary question in which it said it had not identified inconsistencies in Gibraltar's tax information practice. The question was put by a Unión Progreso y Democracia MEP that accused Gibraltar of having lax fiscal standards. However, in its answer, the Commission said in its monitoring, Gibraltar had indicated no potential non-conformities that may have an impact on fiscal standards. The government said when a fair and objective assessment is made by an impartial observer, Gibraltar benefits from clear statements that it complies with international obligations. It added no one should believe Brexit will change its attitude of compliance to international standards. The GGCA will not be pursuing industrial action against the government after it failed to obtain a mandate on the matter of public sector pay raise cap. The government announced at the budget that pay rises would be capped, and the GGCA said this was a breach of a GSLP Liberal manifesto commitment. The union decided it would conduct an online poll asking its 1,400 members if they wanted to declare themselves in dispute with the government. 92% of members who answered the poll said a dispute should be declared and that the GGCA should ballot the membership on industrial action. 98% also said that administrative assistant recruitment should start immediately. This has been communicated to members in a union circular. However, only 286 members voted, well short of the 65% the union needed to declare action and representing only a quarter of the public services membership. The GGCA says it will nevertheless communicate the results to the Chief Minister. And reacting to the news, the Chief Minister said that results suggest that almost 80% of the GGCA's members do not see a need to declare dispute or to take industrial action and are therefore supportive of the government's positions on the issue. He said the government will nonetheless continue talking to the GGCA about the concerns expressed by their members and will also work to resolve any genuine, reasonable and objectively legitimate grievances in a positive, constructive and cooperative manner. The GSD is calling on the government to rectify what it calls the terrible state of neglect in the Upper Rock Nature Reserve. The opposition claims many areas are covered in litter, barrier fences and stairs are in a state of disrepair, and the water pools for the monkeys are stagnant and abandoned. Opposition spokesperson for the Environment and Tourism, Trevor Hammond, says the situation is unacceptable, adding the minister responsible should be ashamed.
At the moment there appears to be no cleaning regime at all, and the area is just being allowed to fester, if you like. It's getting worse and worse and worse day by day, and it really is horrible. That's what we're presenting our tourists, and it's not good enough. That's the impression that people will go away from Gibraltar with a dirty environment. There are a number of ponds here on the Upper Rock, a number of man-made pools that have been created. One reason for doing that was actually to ensure that the monkeys had all the facilities they needed and that they would therefore stay in the Upper Rock and not wander into town and cause the kind of havoc that they have historically in town. So these watering holes are very important, and it seems that they, for whatever reason, whether there's a technical problem or whether there's just a lack of interest, I don't know, but there does seem to be an issue with the replacement of the water in those watering holes. They're not being kept fresh. Obviously, once the water stagnates, the monkeys aren't interested in drinking it, and the monkeys themselves do need water. There are very few areas where you can find natural water on the Upper Rock, so the monkeys need to be looked after in that respect.
And in response, the government issued a statement in which it accused the GSD of skimming social media and not researching its statements. The Heritage Trust said they welcomed the news of a regeneration project of the Road to the Lines area. It said the collection of properties in the heart of the Old Town have been crying out for intervention. The Trust believes the Old Town area is a largely untapped asset, given its proximity to Main Street and access to the Northern Defences area. That could fulfill a variety of roles if managed sensitively and sustainably. It said they're looking forward to seeing the area reaching its potential in a way that retains the Old Town character and heritage. Over 800 people have so far signed a petition to stop high-rise concrete blocks being built within the city walls. Town resident Dilip Taylor launched the campaign to maintain old buildings in the town area and preserve Gibraltar's heritage value. Mr. Taylor launched the petition on the online platform change.org and called on others to support his campaign.
I live in the town area, and I find that the town area, which is cute, and tourists come and they visit, and there's one particular block which is 47 Limewell Road. They're actually planning application to demolish that and build new one. Okay, but what we're demolishing is the history behind the building. Actually goes way back to 1700. So we're going to lose all that, and all of a sudden this concrete block which doesn't fit the environment.
What sort of response have you had since you launched a petition?
Right, I've got nearly 680 responses back, and it's gaining more. And I'm hoping people realize that we as people of residents of Gibraltar can protect buildings and things like that. I think this is the initial start of maybe it'll escalate to many more.
The Chief Minister has instructed the Chief Secretary to ensure that ministers share official cars when travelling to events together. This follows questions put to the government by GBC. According to statistics made available by Number 6, government ministers haven't carpooled on a single occasion in the last 2 years, even when travelling in official ministerial cars to the same events.
There are 6 official cars in the government's fleet. 4 Mercedes-Benz and 2 Toyota Priuses, all of them hybrids. The cars aren't attached to a particular minister. Rather, they are assigned to a minister when his or her department requests them from Number 6 Convent Place. The exception, of course, is the G1, which is the Chief Minister's official car. The government's transport plan makes specific references to carpooling. It says the encouragement of smarter choices such as car sharing can help enhance active travel and social inclusion. It also suggests encouraging people to join car clubs to reduce the number of single-occupant car journeys. Are ministers setting an example for the rest of the community?
The reality is that before 2017, they were carpooling. And to be fair, it's only because government provides these statistics online in the first place that we're able to gather this information. But we've had a look at the statistics, and here's what we've found.
In 2016, ministers carpooled 10 times. One car journey was even shared by 3 ministers. The biggest carpoolers were ministers Costa, Linares and Sacramento. The year before shows a similar trend. But it appears that in the last 2 years, ironically, since the traffic plan was launched, the practice has been parked. There hasn't been a single shared journey in 2 years. Some events even had 3 or 4 ministers attending, such as an Armed Forces Parliamentary Scheme dinner in February, where they all arrived separately in their own ministerial cars.
It's not an isolated incident either. In June, several ministers arrived separately in their own cars at Grand Battery House for the Miss Gibraltar pageant, and 2017 shows similar examples.
In answers to questions from GBC, the Chief Minister has said the government has made many positive changes since elected, and points out that GSD ministers used the car fleet with zero regard for carpooling, often making very short trips.
The Chief Minister says it's obvious the government can do more, and in the light of questions from GBC, he's directed the Chief Secretary to ensure that carpooling among ministers happens more often wherever possible.
He says this is not only environmentally sound, but also a better use of resources for the taxpayer. Mr. Picaldo says that, ironically, some ministers never use government cars, preferring instead to take their own transport, walk or cycle. The statistics indeed confirm this. Use of official transport varies greatly. The ministers who most use official cars are the Minister for the Environment and Education, John Cortes, and the Minister for Culture and Sport, Stephen Linares. Those who use them least are the Deputy Chief Minister, Joseph Garcia, and the Minister for Tourism, Gilbert Ligudi, who has only used an official car once in 2 years.
The government has taken up an incident of air pollution earlier this month with Jib Dock Management following complaints by residents of noxious smells, loud noises and gritty deposits due to blasting works. This week, the Environmental Safety Group has called for much stricter environmental standards to be applied to Jib Dock.
The government says it regrets the recent incident at Jib Dock, as it appears that agreed protocols may not have been met. It told GBC the matter has been taken up formally with the company under the dust control regulations. Asked about measures to reduce pollution from blasting works, the government says a number of measures had been previously agreed, which it appears were not applied on this occasion. In a statement today, the Environmental Safety Group says it expressed concerns earlier this year over the effect of Jib Dock's operations, adding it's campaigned for higher standards for a long time. It says while some changes have taken place, the last few years have seen significant pollution, especially during the summer months. The group argues if the ship repair activity can't continue without having a detrimental impact, then Gibraltar should investigate whether the area can be repurposed for another activity that's less harmful to residents. Questions put by GBC to Jib Dock earlier this month remain unanswered.
And we'll be back with more of this week's stories after this break.
So now, so new, so good, so you, so ripe, so ready, so overly due, so funny, so cool, so fancy, so fit, so blasting, so lasting, so strictly legit, so movie, so prime, so slick, so swoon, so Disney, so Deezer, so light up the room, so what, so epic, so out of the box, so on demand, so ready to rock, so true, so woo, so all the night through, so Sophie, so monster, you know what to do. Woo! Sophie Digital Entertainment Service now included with your Monster Bundle or available exclusively for Jib Telecom broadband customers from only £10 a month. So apply now in store or at sophie.gi. And remember, you'll save on connection fees before the 1st of September. Oh, that rhymes.
Hi, I'm Ben Lynch, and if you love live music, make sure you join me for Sessions.
I sing about her every single day.
That's life for me. Meet the end before the start. And if the drink don't drown me, then I'll be fine.
Sessions, every Monday, 8 o'clock.
And welcome back. GCSE students received their exam results this week with an overall pass rate of 98.5%. Most subjects are now being graded under the new 1 to 9 system, the equivalent of the traditional A star to G. This year, the Department of Education has reported all 9 to 1 and A star to G grades as passes, as opposed to previous years where the benchmark was A star to C. The department said both students and teachers had risen to the challenge posed by the new exams. The pass rate in the new 1 to 9 grades was 99.6%, and the total of 170 students achieved the top grade of 9, with 58 of these from Bayside School and 112 from Westside. The Gibraltar College also said it was delighted with its results.
The wait is finally over. GCSE results day always starts early, and today the vast majority weren't disappointed. Most students couldn't hide their joy as they shared their grades with friends, families and teachers. It's now a traditional sight to see students write their grades down their arms with a black pen, a shared ritual marking the end of 2 years of hard work.
Well, first of all, I'm very proud today. Very proud first to lead a remarkable team of teachers who have worked so hard. They have managed the new courses really well. They have planned, they have led, they have organised, and they have delivered a curriculum which has enabled the students to reap the successes. I see from our results and from Westside results in relation even to core subjects and other subjects, they have done better this year. There's been, as I say, top grades incredible, and also within just the spread of grades has been really, really good.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, the most 9s were awarded for Spanish, with 72 students at Westside and 35 at Bayside School achieving the top grade. But it was Westside students who received the most top grades overall. Nevertheless, the Department of Education is keen to point out that the new grading structure means every grade counts.
So today is a day to celebrate every single educational journey, like Michelle was saying. I have to really emphasize this to employers, to everyone out there. Every grade is a pass, and those students will now have clinics in school with a dedicated staff, the deputies, the pastoral care team, and advise them on the best educational journey for them.
It's been very stressful, but it's paid off in the end. I've been really stressed, and I'm quite happy with my results because I wasn't expecting to get what I got. So I'm really happy with how I did.
I've had a hard year, so to pass what I've got, it's an accomplishment for me.
It's been really stressful, but it's paid off in the end. I've done better than I thought.
I did much better than I thought I was. I thought I wasn't going to get as good, and then I saw and it was amazing.
One student deserves a special mention, however, achieving 9 9s, the highest graded student at Westside.
I feel really great. I feel like the effort that I put in has been reflected in the final results, so I'm really happy.
Were you expecting those top results?
No, I wasn't. I was maybe expecting a mix of 9s and 8s and maybe a 7, so I was really surprised to get all 9s.
And similar scenes of celebration at Bayside School, which also saw an overall pass rate of 99%.
Last week I was very happy with the A-level results, and again this week with the GCSE results. They are good results on the whole. Some very good personal success stories. Many students getting 9s and 8s, which is top of the range. But on the other hand, I'm just as happy for those who've managed to get in with the lower grades as a result of the hard work. So effort pays, and these students have been working very hard throughout the year and in year 10 as well. So on the whole, I'm extremely happy, and I imagine the students will be very happy as well.
I did pretty well, and I'm quite happy today. And I've overachieved, I think, in some subjects, and some they were as well what I expected.
What subjects did you get really high marks in?
I got 4 9s, and I got 2 9s in combined science, 1 9 in maths, and 1 9 in Spanish, which was unexpected because I don't speak Spanish. So, yeah.
I did very well. I also did better than I expected. I got 5 9s, which is more than really I expected. I got a 9 for science, maths, Spanish, and PE. So yeah, I'm really proud.
Well, I got 3 9s and then 3 8s as well, which is just underneath. I got 2 9s for combined science and 1 9 for Spanish, and then the 8s I got for other subjects like math and PE. And yeah, I'm ecstatic with it.
I got 4 9s, 4 8s, and a 7.
Congratulations, you have to celebrate.
Yes, of course, of course.
I got an 8, 2 5s, a 4 and a C.
I did surprisingly well. I got an A star for English, I got a 6 for history, a 5 for mathematics and a C for my single science.
The Gibraltar College was also delighted with their students' results, especially given that many go there to improve on their grades.
I'm very pleased with the results, particularly because, as you know, this year we're moving to a new grading system for certain subjects, and when you move to a new system you never quite know what to expect. But I think the results have been good generally, yes.
Well, very happy. I think that all three institutions have proved that we've got hard-working students, hard-working teachers, a lot of happy young people around today who have exceeded their own expectations. For each one, it's a personal journey through education. For some, it might end here. For others, it will continue. But very, very happy at the results.
Of course, not all students achieved the results they wanted, but they also were not forgotten today.
Well, on this day, I always think about those young people who maybe didn't sit any GCSEs or who didn't do as well as they might have expected, and we need to look at why that is the case. And fortunately, with the new schools that we're developing and the new curriculum, we're going to widen the range to include more vocational courses, so that hopefully there'll be more young people able to take exams at this kind of level and broaden the scope of what they can do and broaden the scope of what Gibraltar can offer.
The Department of Education says despite the pressure, students have coped well and don't appear to have been affected mentally as much as has been reported in the UK press, adding the signs are that Gibraltar has adapted to the new system in a positive way.
Exam results day is always one of mixed emotions, but today mostly positive ones. At least that's the message from the head teachers and also the Department of Education, that are very happy with the success of the students today. A thought also for those who didn't quite make the grade, but also a positive message from the college, which always has a place for those wishing to improve their grades or perhaps seek a vocational pathway. Now that those envelopes have been ripped open, it's time for the students to reflect on where to go from here.
Suicide Prevention Awareness Month is September, and local charity GibSAMS is launching an initiative to combat loneliness and get people chatting to each other when out for a coffee in town. The Chatty Cafe scheme was started in the UK with Costa Coffee bringing it to Gibraltar. The idea is to designate chatter and natter tables in participating cafes where customers can sit if they're happy to talk to new people. Michael Beltran spoke to GibSAM's chairperson, Marilu Guerrero, and Costa Training and Development Manager, Juan Miguel Medina.
We are asking all restaurants, cafes, any establishment, supermarket, cafeterias, if they want to join the scheme, to contact us. And then we'll be in touch with them. They will tell us what time they're setting up the chatter natter table, and then we will post that on our Facebook pages, on our website. It's in the main UK website as well. So if you go into the website, it's now got Gibraltar as a destination, and it tells you where to find the nearest table. We've heard that tourists come here and they like to talk to locals. So because it's widely known in UK, people coming to Gib can actually look for it and come and look. But it's up to the establishment themselves to let us know what time they want to be a part of it, and then we'll post it, we'll advertise them for them. And then obviously people will know. So just come down, sit down, have a coffee.
Yes. For example, in one of our stores, we're going to put a little ad, so you can identify which is going to be the table that you can chat with. So the person is more than welcome to sit on that table when you can find the ad, the Chatty Coffee. So you sit in there, have your coffee, and someone else is going to join. So it's just to give the open space to start this chat. So when you go to a store, the only thing that you have to find is where is the table with the ad, and just start to chat in there. And just sit 5 minutes, someone is going to join, and everything starts.
It's not about making friendships. You can sit, if you were your husband, or if you're a mother with a baby and you want to, it doesn't matter what age, it goes across the whole lifespan, you know, of any walks of life. It's about sitting down and having, and some people actually don't have. It might be the only time that they actually speak to somebody, because they're on their own, they don't have anyone to talk to, and coming down and sitting down and having a coffee and speaking to somebody might be the only person they speak to that day. So that would be a huge deal for them, you know, an immense help for people who are lonely. But it doesn't necessarily mean for lonely, it could be for anyone. Just sit down at the table, welcome people to come and have a chat with you.
I mean, the premise of GibSans is that there is somebody there to talk to. So, I mean, I don't know if this is the right question to ask, but how do you think people will feel about maybe opening up in a public space?
No, the idea of this is not to open up about your problems. If you have a problem, then call GibSans 116123. It's free, it's anonymous, confidential. But it's about, even if you have a problem, it's about sitting down and talking about the weather, not talking about your problem, just having a chat and a coffee with somebody. If you need to talk about your problems, you call GibSans. This is just pure conversation.
It's an amazing opportunity because we started in one store and it's already 300 stores that they're just giving the space to do this. So we are sure that in Gibraltar is going to be an amazing initiative, and I'm sure that to have the chance that just to chat and know you and start to talk about something just regular or local or daily stuff is going to be a big chance for the people.
So it's just purely about human interaction. We all need human interaction. You know, the phones are fine, the internet is fine, but it's good to talk, even about nothing. Just pure conversation with somebody else. It makes a huge difference, and for some people it can make all the difference.
The 2018 Gibraltar Fair opened this weekend. With most schools starting their new term on Monday the 3rd of September, the fair will this year start and end a day earlier. Held at the former Rook site for the second year in a row, visitors of all ages will be able to enjoy their favourite rides, churros and a week's worth of entertainment at both the youth and family pavilions as from 6:30 in the afternoons. Culture Minister Stephen Linares took part in the traditional walkthrough with Miss Gibraltar. The SDGG are also reminding the public of the availability of an easy access pass for people with disabilities to be used at the fair this year. Application forms are available for collection from GCS at the John Mackintosh Hall between 8:30 and 2 in the afternoon. Michael Beltran spoke to Seamus Byrne of the Gibraltar Cultural Services.
Well, this year we once again hired the services of Antonio Guerrero and his team. They've been with us now for many, many years. Actually, I've been working with them now for over 18 years related to the Gibraltar Fair. But we've got attractions for adults and juniors alike. Once again, as part of the contract obligations, we've managed to secure a £2 fee for all rides. And obviously, apart from the rides, we have great entertainment, both at the youth pavilion and the family pavilion, as well as a very, very popular churro stall.
So this is the same area as last year. The layout is a little bit different. How does it work logistically for people to get in comfortably and to move around? What was the thinking behind that?
Well, we've been working now on the floor plan for many months. Actually, we've worked closely with the staff at Number 6 Common Place and also with the SDGG, getting this site in order and as safe as possible for everybody, of course. We have the several entrances on Queensway and also by the Bishop Caruana Road, and it will be accessible for everybody, for the whole community to enjoy.
So we've got the family pavilion in here. The youth pavilion is just across the road. Will that mean road closures in the area?
Yes, that's right. We've arranged with Technical Services and the Royal Gibraltar Police that road will be closed as every year in order to allow access to the fairground itself.
So encouraging people very much to get here on foot if they can.
Yes, that's right. Even though we have the Regal car park very, very near the venue, but we ask people either to come walking or to get on the bus.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going to be happening in future with the fair. We're in this location and it's not a location that is fixed, so what's going to happen in the future?
At the moment we are working very, very hard to complete the fair so that it's available to Gibraltar as from tomorrow evening. Thereafter we will be working on a national celebration, the National Day, and we hope after the national celebrations that we will be able to sit down with the SDDG and the government ministers to be able to discuss this further and look for a venue for next year if this should not be available.
And that's all for News Review this week. You can find our stories on our website gbc.gi, and remember, you can also follow our regular updates on our Twitter and Facebook page. Thank you for watching, and from all of us here on the team, good night.